How's everybody doing? Is everyone still somewhat alive? Pulse check. How are you doing with the mundane stuff? I know we talk a lot about sort of spiritual things. Sci-fi things. What seem like sci-fi things. Kind of philosophy, I guess. And also trying to figure out what the hell's going on with the external situation. It's always difficult to wrap your brain around. But how's everybody doing with like the normal things, you know? Hobbies, pets, neighbors. Does anybody talk to their neighbors? Like, actually? I'm just curious, and I know I've touched on this briefly before, but I'm curious if anybody has like a communal life that's not somehow directly linked to the economic system, where the economic system is the prime driving force for the relationships between the people within whatever. I'm curious if there are any communal things anywhere that are not having the economic system as the base. Are any of you a part of something like that? Like, I'm just trying to imagine how it would look like. Because we don't really have that so much. I know work, like traditional work, where you have coworkers and things, is a good sort of platform for meeting other people, but also that means inserting yourself into the system, and I know that the system I know I don't like it. It doesn't like me. We don't get along, which is why I do something like this Uber thing. But then doing the Uber thing, I don't get the actual true benefits of having a normie job, which are having like built-in opportunities for friendships and some sort of community through that, because I see each person that I give a ride to once. I think so far twice I've had the same person. One was a drunk guy that I had twice in the same day, and the other one was a girl named Bianca that I gave a ride to like a week apart. And that's it, out of like 10,000 people. And so there's no relationship. There's no like standing, lasting relationship. So something that I'm trying to wrap my mind around is how to have a community outside of the kind of beast machine, if that's possible, that is sustainable in this realm. I know it's possible in other places because I feel it in my bones, but I'm not in any of those other places. At least feels like I'm here anyway. Stranger things, right? Because this sort of thing that I'm doing here, the only practical benefit I can get out of it, aside from making numbers in a computer go up enough so I'm allowed to eat and whatnot, i.e. the beast system, the only other benefit besides that, and that's kind of a shoddy benefit, it's a good benefit because I do like eating and I like being able to take care of Jackson via what I give to them in that sense, although that's also removed. I'm removed from those benefits in a sense, but it is what it is on that front. But aside from making money, the only benefit that I actually receive from doing this so much, and I do it a lot, I do this a lot, is meditation. That's it. There's no point in interacting with people and just exchanging pleasantries. The only real thing is developing some sort of a relationship. But if there isn't a basis for that relationship, then you don't just go develop relationships. Like, something I had to kind of learn was that you can't just see someone and say, hey, I kind of like this or I kind of like that about you, let's hang out, and expect that relationship to sort of organically continue, because that's not how actual relationships work. Actual relationships continue on of their own volition somehow. It's hard to explain, but the lasting ones in my life, they have underlying reasons or foundations, I suppose, and they sustain themselves. And of course, me as the individual, I have to put myself into it as well and put effort into sustaining. But I'm just curious if is it possible to create a community just off of an idea, like a commune or something like that, without it having to basically self-implode and destroy itself, like lots of commune ideas that I've seen happen. And I have a feeling this is also linked to spiritual stuff, because this place is an intersection between the worlds, and as far as I know, things don't go on here unless they're allowed on the higher levels first. And they're not allowed to be sustained unless they're allowed on the higher levels, because there are spiritual attacks that will happen in one form or another, and for something to be sustained here, it has to be protected in the first place, even if it is just an idea or a thought form, because there, of course, are always malicious anythings. They don't need a name, but they do exist, or that energy does exist, and it comes around in bugs sometimes, or tries to destroy, or does destroy. And because I know a lot of you guys out there, you guys and girls, are in a similar situation to me, to where any semblance of a so-called normal life has gone out the window a long time ago. If you took, you know, the things that one would say normal life is, and then look at your own life and do a compare and contrast chart, you would find that your life isn't normal at all. Maybe not all of you, maybe some of you lead a sort of normal life, but I certainly don't. And this has become normal for me. Like, I was talking with my brother just last night. I was texting him. He was like, I don't see how you sleep in the car. I was like, well, I've been doing it for a year and a half. It's normal for me now. And I also stay at Eden's house once or twice a week. And I stay at my dad's house once a week. So it's like, it's normal for me. And I remember these other things that used to be normal, but they're not normal anymore. And I have a feeling that the way the existence works, no matter what realm you're in, is it has a life of its own. You have your own sort of personified existence, your ego-selfed, individuated existence within a whole. And the whole does what it does. There isn't any controlling of that. And you are connected to that. So what the whole does, and there's nothing you can do about that. But the way that sort of free will comes in is the whole is obscured from the view of the individual. Because if the individual saw the whole, then there would be no individual. That seems like pretty reasonable logic to me. So we have a distorted view here as the individual, and we filter. The body is a filtering mechanism for whatever is actually hitting it, if you could use that terminology. And then our body mind, our bio brain, it interprets, you know, the more pure signals of the whole of existence into this manifest individuated form. And then we have things like free will, like, oh, I'm moving my hands and stuff like that. This got very far from my from my original idea. But yeah. Community to me is like, to me it's like it's never been there. The only community I've ever had was my nuclear family. That I consider a true community. We all lived together. We worked together on the house, on the property, on the yard. We studied together. We went to church together. All these things. We visited relatives together. We grew up together. That's a community. And then somehow it turned, and that was only there because my dad took the burden of being in the beast system, okay? So that was not even a proper organic community. He had to go out and make this money stuff. Now, I'm not just ranting and raving on the money system. I'm not just doing that. I understand that currency in and of itself has benefit, some means of exchange. I understand that. Our system now is not a good way of doing it, but it's aside from that, this story. But what I'm saying is, that was an actual community. Like, we needed each other. And we were free to get in fights and hate each other, but we still came back to home base afterward, you know? We went exploring all day, and then we get called back to home base. And after that, community, I haven't had a community. Not at all. You know? It's been me and me. And this foray into YouTube has created somewhat of a community. It's an online community, which is different, but it's good. You know, it's good to have like-minded people, but still. And I'm just musing. I'm not trying to create here. I'm not trying to say let's everybody who's listening to this get together and make a commune. I'm not saying that, because there is a workability of an idea, and then there is a non-workability of an idea. And I know that simply saying let's do this and then start doing it never ever works. I know that. I've tried it. I've tried it many times. That's not how things get created. That's how you find out how not to create. But that's not how it actually gets created. So yeah, I'm just kind of rambling here, and I would like to generate a little bit of discussion on what a genuine, true community would look like, and would it have to be, is it possible? Is it possible to have a genuine community? Because what I see when I look out here is not genuine community. And I know that this whole, like all of these cars here, I know that each individual there is connected to a network that is based on basically the work situation and like nuclear families and money. But I'm not in that. I'm in Uber, and Uber doesn't have like a family. Now maybe Uber could do something where they make it a big family somehow, but then that would require that the hierarchy sort of be broken down a bit, and they can't do that. So anyway, just thoughts on community. I don't feel bad about it. Like, I don't sit here and miss. It's a little bit of a nostalgia, I think, because I remember what it was like, but also community, like, it's safety. Community is safety. It's safety for everything. It's safety for your body, and it's safety for your mind, and you know it. And everybody knows you, and they know your nuances, and when you need space and when you don't, and all this stuff. But the main thing is you are cared for. And what I feel like in this realm is that there are a lot of people who have slipped outside of that range of care, of getting genuine care from another human being, face to face, body to body. Like what Eden does for me with Reiki is very intimate, and it's direct care, and she receives something as well from working with me. And the same thing will happen with me when I get into my Reiki practice, if that actually does come around like it looks like it might, and with possibly massage therapy. But whatever, it's intimate connections with human beings, and everything is communicated back and forth, and whatever issues are going on, basically you're just not alone, and you're getting care in the way that human beings need care. Like this beast mommy, consumer thing that's offering the loaded titty at everybody, it's not taking care of anyone. It's not. So yeah, just a discussion point. I would like to generate a little bit of dialogue between people. And yeah, and how's everyone doing? Let me know. All right, this was a long one. Take care, guys. Bye.